for show number 107 of the newly named Ask Flip Man Flippinars. Have both of the ladies with us tonight. Before we turn it over to Adria, make sure follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at the same place now. Ask Flip Man. Over to you, Adria.
Wow, you combined it all?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, guys, you heard it here first. AskFlipMan.com is the site that you can visit. Glad to be back for show number 107 today, Thursday, July 18th. Welcome. The beautiful Miss Renikia is here as well. This is the place where you can ask your questions in regards to wholesaling real estate, little to no cash and or credit, and we'll answer them. So you post the questions, YouTube and or Facebook. I'll read them, and one of the two gurus will answer them for you. Don't be shy. Make sure you tell us where you're from. Give us your name. Sometimes I don't read or cannot read the handles. And without that, I'm ready to go. You ready?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
we are.
Jumping right into this thing. Other than it's always YouTube. Never works for me. Okay, so let's see. I gotcha. Oh, and make sure you hit that like button there. Nathaniel Stowe has our very first question. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. He wants to know, should a wholesaler be concerned with the mortgage situation of a property?
That's a really, really great question. And I'm sure it's something that a lot of people will run into if you really get heavily in this business. But it is a concern. It's definitely a concern because you cannot sell a property for less than what is owed on the mortgage. So if there's a mortgage on there, you want to know what is that payoff number, because sometimes that payoff number could be higher than what the property is really worth, and there's just no equity there for you to even put time into it to try to wholesale it out. So you want to know what that payoff amount is. You want to make sure that it's less than the price that you're trying to sell it for.
All right, guys. So hopefully that answers some questions that several of you would have. So just make sure when you're writing those contracts up, obviously you have to make sure that the outstanding mortgage is covered and that selling price as well. Next up, Jay Candy has greetings from Houston. Roberto Lara from Laredo, Texas. JB3 says hello. And Rhonda from Brunswick. And William Hubbard. All right, guys, on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and start posting those questions. While I wait for some others to join in, Renikia, we're going to take this moment to explain and let you tell a little bit about your business and how it could possibly help some of our subscribers joining us tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. First and foremost, I am always and thankful to be a part of Ask the Flip Man, your wholesale questions show. So I'm honored to be a part of this show. But most importantly, what we do is provide the resources and services that you need to really get out here and be a successful real estate investor if you want to take your real estate to the next level. Absolutely, we teach each and every day on how to buy and sell real estate with absolutely no money or little to any money. But it may come a time where you may need a little bit of some money to invest into your wholesale business or to offset some of the expenses to do a fix and flip. So what we do is provide the funding that you would need in order to do your fix and flip, or just funding in general if you need to invest into or need to leverage your credit to invest into your real estate business. Now, if you want to leverage your one of our flagship programs is you can leverage your credit to receive up to $150,000 of unsecured credit, which allow you to be able to invest into your wholesale business or use it as a down payment for your next fix and flip. If you want to take advantage of those, go to findmynextdeal.com. That'll give you access to my site, so you're able to look at the different programs that we have. And if you want to connect with me via Facebook or Instagram, my information is right there on the screen, my first and last name, and you can always email me at funding@fkfinancials.com. And I just want to say something about this saying on this page right here. Poor is not a financial state. It is a a mental state. And it means that you're passed over opportunities repeatedly. Sometimes there are opportunities that hit your path in life that is therefore to increase you to the next level. And if you don't seize those opportunities and seize those moments, you could pass up on lucrative opportunities that can really take you and your family to the next level. So.
All right, there you have it, guys. Her information, as she mentioned, is right there on your screen. If you're unable to see it, just tag this video and come back and watch a little later. We will repeat that towards the end of our show. Wanting to say hello to Miss Veronica Brotnack. She's on Facebook, a very faithful subscriber and viewer. Nikki Braxton from Oklahoma City, and Dante from Winchester Bay. Flipping back over to YouTube, I see Mr. Charles from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He says, it's always glad to see you guys online. Keep up the good work for those newbies. Thank you, Charles. Thanks for joining us. Mr. Maurice McElroy wants to know, if I see a for sale by owner sign, do I call them before or after I run my comp? So you're driving through, you see the FSBO sign, do you call?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and, you know, if you can get any feedback from that homeowner before you even start running your comps, you want to know what is the asking price. You want to know any information that homeowner can provide you, so you can do your due diligence. So you give them a call and say, hey, I was in a neighborhood and I seen that you have a property here in ABC subdivision for sale, and I just want to, you know, ask some, a couple questions regarding your home, because I'm looking and actively looking to purchase homes in this area. You want to ask them what are they asking for, any major repairs that they could think of that is made needed, and just somewhat build rapport. And then you take that information, you let them know at the end of that call, thank you so much. I'm gonna take this information, do my due diligence. Do you mind if I call you back within 24 hours and make your offer, or something of that nature? So.
Okay. Speaking of comps, we have another question from YouTube, and this is from Mr. William Hubbard. He wants to know, how do you run comps on the best home in a bad neighborhood and relay them to a seller in a way that they won't be offended because they believe their house is twice as nice, therefore worth twice as much? So you have a seller who thinks their house is worth a lot more than what it actually is. How do you break that to them?
And to be honest with you, that's probably going to be majority of all true for sale by owners. Investors is an investment. They don't really have emotional attachments to the property, but to a homeowner who have, you know, seen their kids grow up there and all types of stuff, they have a sentimental value to their property. And a lot of them are just uneducated about how much their property is really worth. So I take that time to educate them, but you can't just go in there and say, your property is not worth what you're asking. Sometimes you got to provide those facts. So you want to be able to provide those facts. You want to let them know that, hey, the property next door actually has been updated in the last 2 years. Your property still has a 1989 look to it. So you want to be able to pinpoint why, and pinpoint and justify why you're offering them a lower price due to the fact that their home needs so many repairs. And not only that, sometimes that could be, you know, a general contractor or someone who's going to come in and rehab the property could tell you, hey, it's going to cost about $20,000 for this roof. It's a very old, dilapidated roof. So you want to rely somewhat on your general contractor too, or your contractor, to kind of tell you why those repairs is needed in order to meet that that comp that you're looking at. So you just want to provide those facts and educate them. Everyone's going to feel that way, but it's your job to educate them, to help them understand that you're really asking more for the property than it's worth. And that ain't market value. Is market value. Market value is what will the market pay for your property. So if the market is going to pay $100,000, but you really want $150,000, I'm going to prove to you that your property is only worth $100,000 according to market value.
Okay, still doing shout outs. I like y'all to see where everybody is from if you're listening in your vehicle, or maybe not, but we have Julius from Savannah, Georgia, Rita from Nashville, Tennessee. We have Rhonda from Brunswick, New Jersey. We're all over the place. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And Long Island is where Hector is from. Our next question is, in regards to commercial properties. Do I first secure a tenant so that can help me with leverage for funding? Okay, so what are your thoughts on that? Do we go ahead and find somebody to say?
Well, yeah, that's increases the value of the property if you get a long-term commitment from a tenant, especially if it's a triple net lease, which simply means they're going to pay the taxes and insurance and the maintenance on the building. So that long-term lease to the lender is more of a guarantee to them than you in a lot of cases as the borrower, especially if it's a national tenant like a McDonald's, or which they normally buy their real estate, but a Starbucks or a Walgreens. So they're going to look at it that, you know, they're going to get their money regardless. And normally they're going to try to line up the financing to the tenant. In order for them not to get their money, those companies would have to go out of business altogether. Starbucks would have to go out of business altogether in most cases now. And well, I can't remember what the name of the term is, but they'll get, if you may not be as strong as they maybe want you to be credit wise or whatever, they may get you to sign I can't think of the name, but I'll explain it. It's basically saying the rents, if you default on payments, they have the right to start receiving the rental payment or the lease payments each month directly from the national tenant or whatever. So yes, it makes it your position a lot stronger if you have a tenant lined up to start paying.
Okay.
Okay. Still greetings, Columbus, Ohio, California, Toronto, the champions, Chicago, Illinois, Florida, Houston, OKC, Lexington, Kentucky, and Buffalo, New York. Okay, so Tony M on YouTube says, I have a landlord wanting to sell 30 houses. However, I found out he has taken out a line of credit and has a lien on all the houses of over $1 million. Can I still wholesale or let it go?
That's a really great question. It would depend. It depend on if it's like a wraparound loan where he got all of his 30 properties wrapped into one loan. Then he will have to have negotiated with his lender that he'll be able to partially sell partial assets out of that loan, and they refinance it or something of that nature. If he didn't, then he may have trouble with selling onesies out of that wraparound loan. Now, if it's not wraparound, it's no different from a mortgage being on the home. That property cannot be sold unless that mortgage, that lien on the property is completely paid. So your sale price must be higher than the mortgage that's on the property. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely sell a home with a lien on it, but it all depends on if it's all wrapped into one loan.
All right. Hey, Kenny from around the corner representing the 205. How you doing? And Tyler, Texas, North Carolina, Mississippi. All right. We covered. I think we got a little bit from all over the ethos. Okay. And Maryland. I'm sorry, I left you out. So Tavares Coffee, and this is from YouTube. Is it possible to sell a house under contract to someone getting a loan for a mortgage? So that doesn't necessarily work for wholesaling as it's taught on the surface, right?
I don't think I heard the question clearly.
Is it possible to sell a house under contract to someone getting a loan for a mortgage?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It happens all the time. Your end buyer can get a loan. It doesn't have to bring cash to the table. Your end buyer can get a loan. Unless it's like a foreclosed home or something, you can't necessarily have an assignment fee on the HUD. But if it's a regular home from a private homeowner, you can have an assignment fee on the HUD. Or you double close it.
Okay. Hopefully that answered your question, Mr. Tavares. Let's see here. Ebony Noor Says, how do I contact a vacant homeowner? I just started my 5-day free trial, and I'm assuming she's speaking with Delia later, aka PropStream, and called every telephone number and had no luck due to wrong numbers. Any advice? And she also wants to know, can you wholesale a HUD home?
What was the first part about that?
She's not having any luck finding the numbers that were provided her from her 5-day free trial.
Okay, how many? I guess I would need to know how many she got. But let me just tell you what I do. The skip tracing there, I actually just use it for information, and I build lists. I use Mojo Dollar to do my reverse lookup on list. It just seems to be more accurate. You know, that's just me being just totally real on it. That's the only way I know how to be. But as far as what was the second part of that?
Can you wholesale a HUD home? And she just
Well, technically you can position yourself, but it's just not going to be a clear transaction like if it's just a regular seller, because you got to go through the HUD bid process. It's a foreclosure, so they're not going to allow you to assign it. You can double close it if the title company will work with you on that, being that it's a horrible, but normally they try to control all of that from my experience of what I know about it. So, but it can be done, but there are easier deals out there.
Yeah.
It's not like you're finding a secret.
The investor, whoever the end buyer, can just Google the property and see that it's on HUD. Yeah. You know, so you'll have to, you know, your offer must be within what's been advertised by HUD. If HUD had it out there for $59.99, then most likely that end buyer Google that property and you're trying to sell it for $65,000. You know, they're not going to go with you because they see it out there at a lower price.
All right. Off-roader, I see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. Been representing Ashbury Park. Thanks for joining us. How are those checks rolling in? Let's see here. David Bynes wants to know, and while we're talking about the no secret type properties, are pre-foreclosure properties good to wholesale? If so, how should I approach the owner, seller? Thanks.
I didn't hear the question.
Are pre-foreclosure properties good to wholesale? If so, how should I approach the owner, seller?
Oh, pre-foreclosures. Pre-foreclosure is a different beast. You know, you can wholesale it, but you can wholesale it. However, before you sell it, the investor, the homeowner would need to catch up their payments. If not, it's going to end up going into the foreclosure. Could possibly go into foreclosure because it's in pre-foreclosure. Pre-foreclosure basically means that, hey, we noticed that you're 3 months behind and we're about to take this thing into foreclosure. We noticed that you're 2 months behind. Once you get 3 months behind, we can foreclose on this property. So there's multiple ways you can do that. You can either catch them up on that payment and then sell it, and then try to wholesale the property. But most importantly, that pre-foreclosure, it's probably a high mortgage on that property. So you want to make sure that what you're trying to sell the property for is less than what is owed on the property. And a lot of times those properties are upside down, where you really need to sell it for less than what is owed. That's why if it goes into a foreclosure, you can pick it up for what it really worth versus picking it up at a higher price. But.
All right. Let's see here. Are you able to hear me, Renikia?
Yes, I think I cut off my phone.
I don't know. I think maybe I could.
Yeah, I got a new mic over there though.
Yeah, we got it. And Blaze, love that name, from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Kyrie wants to know, how do you wow, I don't know. Do y'all wholesale virtually? If so, could you just talk about the language for a brief second? So wholesaling virtually, most definitely possible. How do you make that work?
And there's no different language. Everything is going to be the same. You just got to have either systems and or people in place to help you in locations you're not. It's that simple. You got to have somebody there representing you. There's no real different language or anything.
Okay. So just feet on the ground in the area that you're targeting. Gotcha.
Whether it's another wholesaler, a realtor, someone you know, or whatever, you got to have someone there representing you in some form of fashion. You just got to just know, well, I don't see any way you can go or get around that.
Right.
Okay. Shaq Smith from D-Town. Glad to see you here. Oh, Alfredo says he's getting paid. Thanks to you guys. All right, I heard that then. Karen wants to know, what are your suggestions for obtaining secondary contract numbers for sellers and buyers without giving out your sale? So maybe this is a Vumber Google Voice type question.
Yeah, that's what it is. Go with Google Voice or something of that nature, which is free. Google Voice is free.
Okay, so hopefully that answered that. We again, I would just Google more information on that, but Vumber, that's number with the V as in Victor, and Google Voice, two options that provide you with a number that you can use. Like Renikia said, one is a free service. So most definitely something to look into if you're needing a number.
Yeah, there are going to be plenty of services out there, guys. It's just, it's just going to be plenty of services out there. But I personally use Vumber, but I can't even tell you if it's the best game in town or whatever, but it just works for me. But there are going to be a number of options out there for phone numbers. That's a very competitive market.
Yeah. And when I first started, I used Google Voice. It was free. But now I personally use Ring Central.
Okay, there's another one, guys. Ring Central. Hand clap time. This is a huge power clap from Mr. Leonard Smith from Clinton, Maryland. He just did his first deal, $10,000.
Oh, yeah.
But then he says now can't close any deals. What? Maybe that's a typo. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mr. Smith. The check's coming.
Yeah, explain that more that you can't close any deals.
Yeah, if that wasn't a typo and you're saying that you can't close any deals, let us know why. What's the stumbling block after such a great start there? Alex A, and this is who wants to know, do you have to have an LLC to start? If not, can you get sued for anything under your own name? So we talk about this, about having the startup funds and choosing how you use them if they're minimal. But I think it's safe to say you can get sued for anything. So that's not going to prevent you from getting sued for having an LLC. But I guess just trying to protect yourself. What are your thoughts?
Exactly. So yes, you can purchase a property in your name, or you can do it in an entity name. However, the reason why we do it in an entity name, because for lawsuit purposes, if someone sues the company because they fell on at your house and now they want to sue you or something, they can only sue the company and whatever assets within that company. Now, if you own the property and someone falls at your house and they decide to sue you, they can go after everything you own and what's in your name. So we do it for asset protection and for tax purposes as well. So you can write off some of your income and lower your tax liability at the end of the year. So there's a lot of benefits to doing this business in a business name. But when you're first starting and if your resources are minimum or limited, then just do it in your first name, and then invest back into your business over time and create your LLC.
Okay. Rose Gold Jones says, let's say you go find a property. Do you run the comps before or after contacting the owner? Like, do you need to run the comps to know the price you want trying to offer? So you got to have some knowledge about the property that you're trying to purchase. So I would say yes. What's the answer?
I would say yes, and I would say yes. You want to be as educated as possible, so you are able to negotiate. But I will also say the first person who says the first person who speak numbers will always lose. So you always want them to tell you what they want, because they may be thinking 25,000, you thinking 40,000, and you just cut yourself off for 15,000. So always make them tell you what they want for the property and then go from there. Now you get those hardball sellers that say, just make me an offer. Those are people that's not really that motivated. And I always make them a low ball offer because they know what they're not going to take, but they can't tell me what they really want, but you know that you don't want $10,000. So I play, you can play their game. If they force you to make an offer, just make the most low ball offer ever to force them to kind of tell you what they really want for the property. But do your due diligence and try to make them say their numbers first, and try to go out and maybe walk the property if you can before you really finalize that number as well.
All right. Let's see here. This question is from Ashley. Do you guys know the time frame from when a national tenant gives a LOI? Do they begin to start paying the monthly lease? I have some strategies I will implement depending on this fact. So how soon do you have to start paying?
Oh, the tenant?
Yes.
That's going to be just part of what their negotiations are. It could be months before they actually make a payment. If there's a build out needed or renovations, or it may be a total tear down and a replacement, a new building or whatever. So that's just going to vary. It's going to vary, period. There's just no way to say that. So, and just to add to that, it's definitely going to vary. You never know, but a LOI is just an LOI. It's not in a commitment. It's not agreement. A LOI is a letter of intent. These are my intentions, but it is not final. So it moves from an LOI to either purchase agreement or to a triple net lease agreement. And so you get that purchase agreement with everybody's signature on it. You just have an LOI. You just have someone that's interested and have the intentions on purchasing your property or have the intentions on leasing your properties, but nothing has been agreed upon. So the next step is to get either a triple net lease agreement or a lease agreement, or get a purchase and sales agreement. And all that information you're asking should be detailed in that lease agreement or should be detailed in that purchase and sales agreement. Now, if it's a real tenant, if it's a real tenant that needs to come in to Todd's point, they may request 3-4 months non-payment because they got to come in, and actually most people are going to request no minimum of 2 to 3 months non-payment, so they can come in and build out. Even if they don't have to build anything out, that's 3 months for them, and you want to give it to them because these are not 1-year leases. They're minimum 3 years or 5 years. And people don't just open their doors today and start making money tomorrow. So everyone would negotiate 2 or 3 months build out period, and which allows them to build it out and open their doors so they can begin to get some type of revenue before they start paying leases. Now, if this is the same individual who asked earlier, about purchasing and things of that nature. Now, I don't know too many tenants that will sign off on it before you own it, type of scenario. So usually what happens, if you're looking to purchase a piece of commercial real estate and you need these national tenants to come in and you need to show that lender that you have these tenants, that's what you could have more of a commitment letter showing that, Starbucks is coming into my shopping center, into my retail space. And that it does add value to being able to get that loan closed, or showing that you already have tenant commitment for your space. So just take all those things in consideration, because most likely if you haven't purchased the commercial property, it's just going to be a commitment until you purchase.
Okay, jumping back into wholesale. I know we ventured out for commercial there, guys. This is a really good question. How do I go about buyers wanting to know the address of the property I'm advertising to sell, but don't the buyers need to know? So
Right.
I'm not, that's a common question, and people are not thinking that through. If you were going to buy a house, don't you think you need the address? How can you evaluate the opportunity without the information? That's the purpose of your I know what the why they, they're afraid the buyer's going to steal the deal, but that's what your contract is for with the seller. Just think it through. Will you just ask yourself, will you buy a house without the address?
But I guess maybe the question really should be, how do you vet to make sure that you're dealing with a true buyer, so you don't.
Well, I just did a video on that.
I ain't watching.
A couple of days ago. Need to watch it. But anyway, it's speed. Number one, how fast can you close? Right. The proper response should be as soon as you can get a clear title. The only time that should deviate is they got a hard money or private lender, and their process is a little longer because they go through some things cash buyers may not go through. They may actually do an appraisal. They may actually do an inspection. You know what I'm saying? Because they normally are lending from a distance, so they're going to have to get as much information as possible to make an informed decision where they're going to lend money on this particular property or whatever. Now, you could be dealing with another wholesaler, but I'm still going to treat them like a buyer in the sense that they might not give me earnest money, but I'm not going to allow them to tie up my property either. On top of that, bring the buyer. Let me go through how I want to proof him and how fast he can close, and then we'll paper up as needed or whatever, me and another wholesaler. But if that's the question, whether you're trying to determine if someone is real or fake, is speed or how fast they can close. All right, obviously you want your earnest money. I forgot about that part of it. They may not let you hold it, but or if they let an attorney or a title company hold it, it needs to be where you can verify. And that's it. It shouldn't take someone more than a true cash buyer 10 days. And that's just really just waiting on the title. Again, unless you got a hard money lender involved. And still, I've seen those take up to 30. I just did one that took up to 30 with a hard money lender or whatever. But that's not normal. I would say probably maybe 10 to maybe 21 days, maybe you would say normal.
Yep.
So.
When you did that REI event, and I was talking with a buyer there, and I think he's a pretty true buyer, and I asked him that question, like, what type of questions you ask, like how long. I just asked him, how long does it take for you to close? He said, what time does the attorney's office close?
Yeah, they just talk like they got the bread. Ain't none of this. I need 30 days and I need a 14-day. Hey, a 14-day inspection. No.
Right, no.
No.
I can tell a real buyer about a due diligence period. Yeah. Because a real buyer due diligence is no more than 24 to 72 hours. You go in there that day, if you want to buy that property or not. But a wholesaler gonna ask you for 7 days, they may ask you for 5 days, just because they need a little bit more time to go shop your deal around. So, I evaluate a lot of times, and I don't care who you are, you're not tying up my property no more than 24, max 72 days. 72 hours.
We answer this question every week. So Darius, I'm not picking on you. But I think we answer it thoroughly. But once you get that contract, you get the house on the contract, say you got a good price with your seller, I guess everybody is in a hurry. They want to take that contract right to the title company. Is that what you should be doing?
I just did one on that today. I did a
well, look at that. You got a video.
Yeah, I did an Instagram post on Instagram video. Might not be on Instagram, but whatever. But I just did one on that today. No, you can do it, but I wouldn't advise you to do it. You're gonna, that's $300 to $600 depending on where you are or whatever. As far as that, and hey, you don't. If you do this long enough, you're gonna run into a situation where the title is not clear and you can't get it clear. Right? All right. The other thing is you're gonna run into situations, you do that and that buyer say, oh, I don't have a relationship with that title company. This is who I use.
Right.
that money just gone. You know?
That's another one.
Yeah, you need to wait on a buyer, man. You know what I'm saying? Because even if the title comes back where it's a situation, buyers are used to that. They in the business, they know that happens. If the title company is going to give you a solution, but sometimes the solution may not, if it's our property and none of them can agree on selling it, what can you do? What can you do?
Okay. So guys, once you get the contract signed, let's put that momentum not in getting to the title company, but finding a buyer. Yeah. Now, once you get that contract signed,
exactly.
Now
you don't have a complete contract without an end buyer. It's complete, but you don't have a complete deal. I'll say that. You don't have a complete deal without an end buyer if you're wholesaling.
Okay. Sounds good. This is from Kay Oliver. And Ty, I'm going to tell you, go ahead and pull up dealer later. Put phone back. Okay. He says, I was watching the prop stream video. See? Somebody was watching one of the 70 plus videos made available to you on YouTube covering everything you need to know in regards to wholesaling real estate with little to no cash. Watch them, people. Okay. Says, I was watching the prop stream video, which thank you so much, by the way. There was a part of the video that the prop stream guide mentioned to input 50% equity on tax lien properties as a filter. Why is that?
I'm not even sure why he's doing it. You were probably watching an actual video that I can't think what my guy name is over there. That he may have done, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you why he did that. That's a good question. I wasn't a part of that video. I don't think.
Okay.
He probably just watching one of the tutorials that's out there. I don't know. Unless let me back up. The only reason I can see him doing that is that if that's the only thing you have to go by as far as the assessed value, you don't have any comps. You're just taking 50% of the assessed value to come up with a potential offer, I guess. That's the only thing I could see the reason why he would say that.
Okay. Now, I hopefully answered your question, but I actually pull up prop stream Dealulator on the screen, which you guys, if you do not have the one-page contract that Ty has been using since the beginning of his wholesaling career, it is available to you there. You can plug and chug the numbers, and you can also print it out. Makes it real easy for you to access that contract. In addition to, if you have not added dealulator.com as a tool to your war chest, you do have the opportunity to use it for 5 days free of charge to take a look around and see if it's something that you need to add. Adrian has an is it a deal question. Are you ready? Okay. I have a property with the ARV of 45 to 50. Repairs are about 10 to 15, and the seller wants 10.
45 to 50. You know what? We were you said 45 to 50?
45 to 50.
I was my VA dude I got making calls for me. I showed him how to use this to just make offers, so we wanted to go back and forth or whatever. And he said, which I already knew this, and I should have just played with it. We don't know what the repairs are on this property, but when you start talking about it, I think I got up to 65,000. This formula becomes really less important because you start throwing these numbers in here for repairs, you're negative. You see what I'm saying? That 70% is not going to work on certain numbers. It's just not, or whatever, because there's nothing left or whatever after you start doing the numbers. So generally speaking, when you start talking about property, each area market is going to be different, but for the most part, normally you're going to have to get those houses 10,000 or less. Normally. Well, he got it for 10. At 45, it probably needs to be livable. And normally that's going to be straight rental areas. It's, it ain't going to be no buy, fix, and flip for the most part. So it's going to have to be someone just looking to spend 25, 30 grand and just trying to get a return on it or whatever, so.
And I'd be surprised it to have only $10,000 worth of repairs.
Yeah,
Did he say?
I didn't even put the numbers in. I'm sorry, I didn't put them in. Okay, so there we go.
I'd be surprised if you pick up a property for $10,000 and it only has $10,000 worth of repairs, sign me up. You know, because usually those properties are so cheap because they're so dilapidated. They need so much rehab.
What's your number say?
Well, if we go by, he said 10,000. I put a $45,000 ARV in here. 10,000 repairs, so we're down to 21.5. I don't know what he wants to make on it. We can do 5,000. I don't know. We'll put 5,000 in there. So yeah, 16.5 or whatever. So if he got it for 10, so it sounds like it's a deal just based on that. But I hope that repair number. What's the square footage on the property? I can tell you a lot from that or whatever.
Now, the next portion of it was that this is an older woman and she does not feel comfortable signing anything until closing. He wants to know what to do.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I honestly kind of just went through something like that. And it wasn't the fact that she didn't want to close anything. It was the fact that she always wanted me to meet her at the attorney office. So sometimes it make them feel better. So ask them if it's okay that you all meet at the attorney office and sign off on the contract there. And maybe that'll make her feel more comfortable that, hey, signing it at the attorney office. That made my buyer feel comfortable. But what you want to do is just try to figure out how you can accommodate her. But I wouldn't do all that work and, wait to the closing table to sign off documents, because she could change. She could, something could happen to her. I mean, anything can happen. You all don't have anything, under contract. So she could sell that property to someone else who come knock on her door tomorrow because y'all don't have anything. So you want to get her to sign something.
Okay.
Not something, but a purchase and sales agreement. What do you do in that case, Tom? So interesting.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I'm normally not a person that's going to haggle, and I guess I probably should do more of it. It had to be just an unbelievable deal, which this ain't. It would have to be just a smoking deal for me to try to jump through a lot of hoops for what she want. But on this deal that he just gave, I wouldn't even get a second thought. Okay. Miss Brown, if anything changes, please give me a call back. I just throw it back in her court. That's not how you do business. You know what I'm saying? I'll just let her know that's not how you do business. I can't waste my time and I don't have anything to lock in that, hey, you're going to sell me this house or whatever. Exactly. So not for this deal. Like I said, no.
Okay. Keeping Dealulator up. Shiley Superstar from Houston. You don't have enough information. If you want, Ty to plug and chug your number so we can discuss it as a group and put it on the Promethean board. We need the after repair value. We need the repairs that are needed. We need to know what the seller has agreed to sell it to you for. Those three off the rip. Those three numbers gotta have it, right? ARV, repairs, and what the seller
purchase.
Well, yeah, we're looking at it right here. You got to figure out what the ARV is. You got your renovation cost, and then obviously you need to know what they want to sell it for. So, boom. You got to have that information to be able to evaluate the property. So.
All right.
Keep it simple. Keep it real simple.
Yeah. Ron Legend, need more information. Dante, need more information. Y'all are giving me the ARVs, but not the selling what the contract is for, nor repairs. And trust me, even if they say there are no repairs, there are repairs. There's something that somebody else is going to have done. So I have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home under contract with the ARV at 51. Seller accepted and offer no lower than 20,000, and I possibly have a buyer that will buy for 25,000. Good deal or not? Still need the repairs. Any repairs needed on this? But if the ARV is 51,
if somebody already want to buy it
for 25,
it really doesn't matter what the repairs on.
It doesn't matter
for 25.
Right.
If he's assured of that, it doesn't matter. Obviously, they good with it. Yeah. So
they good.
Says that the owner will accept nothing lower than 20, so that's $5,000.
Yeah.
Sounds like a done deal.
$5,000 to me.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Gotta pay some.
Okay. What's your Okay, I'm trying to scroll. I'm scrolling through now, guys, to see who has Flip Man or Renikia. I have a lead. 75,000 is the ARV. Repairs approximately 10 to 15. We always gonna err on the high side, guys. So that's 15. How much should I offer open house this weekend, but seller motivated? So
What was the numbers again?
ARV was 75.
75.
Repairs about 15.
Okay. Okay.
You didn't tell me how much the seller is wanting for it.
Okay.
And you say it's an open house, so that sounds like it's a realtor is involved here.
Right.
That could be a problem. And you said that you're willing to make the offer. As Renikia mentioned earlier, you never offer first. So Kelvin, sounds like you might have
well, we could tell them what to offer. Well, I plugged the numbers in here.
Okay.
All right. Hey, so 37.5 is basically the cash buyer's number to make it work. Probably would be to his advantage. Say you want to make $5,000 on this. Okay, you need to be at 32.5 or lower. So I would probably offer him 25.
Oh no, never mind.
What?
Kevin says the asking price is 69.
Oh wow.
Man, we so far.
Well, that's yeah.
Hey, offers are free, but not like. They talking about he got an open house. You know, see, it just don't work like that, guys. I'm just telling you. I'm not laughing at them. It just doesn't work that way. If they got an open house, I don't even pursue those, so I don't know if I can be successful.
They sound too organized.
So I say, well, yeah, open house, there's no motivation there. I'll put it like this. See, a lot of times an agent's definition of motivation is far from your definition as a motivated seller, right? We throw that word around loosely, right? I don't know you motivated. I don't care what you get, what story you give me until I hear that price. You can be say, I lost my job, my husband left me, I'm going to be kicked out of the U.S. I don't know. But until I hear that price, I don't know you motivated, right? Oh, that's what's going to let me know that you're truly motivated because you're ready to sell this property at a price that's like just make me just like stop what I'm doing to go, if possible, to go meet you at that house. So anyway.
And a person that wants that much for a property that's worth 75, most likely it's going to be hard to talk them down to where it really needs to be.
Yeah, that's a 30. That's like
they want to sell to a retail buyer.
A retail buyer
because they're very close to the value of the property.
Which that's fine. You know, people want what they want. It just don't work for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're using Dealulator, as you guys can see on the screen. We're plugging and chugging numbers, but we're asking, as I'm saying, I need those 3 crucial numbers, and repairs being one of them. So I've had 3 or 4 questions since we started. Greg's question was, how much does it cost for contractors to come out and get repairs? And then the follow-up question from Darius was, how do y'all estimate repairs? I can't have a contractor go with me every time I go. You're right. No.
Well, no, you don't. After you go out 1 or 2 times, you'd have made notes. You know what windows cost to replace, flooring based on the square footage, countertops based on square footage. Depending on the house, cabinets and countertops can go all over the place or whatever. Replace toilets, tub, a bath, redo a whole bathroom, carpet, hardwoods. You know, you just get all those numbers and you could just, there's no like exact number. You send 5 contractors out, you're getting 5 different prices.
Absolutely.
Period. So the easy thing to do, right? And this is not set in stone. You just need a ballpark number. And I saw another guy on YouTube, made sense to me. If the house is livable, assuming it's in just a CB, I guess a CB neighborhood, is the house is livable, $25 a square foot. If it's not, $40, and that can still go up now. I'm just giving you just a ballpark. And if it's in maybe a rental area, and it's not livable, you may do $15 square foot just to get it back rentable. If it's in a D area, I'm trying to say, in a D area, you know, you can just use those numbers and go with. You just need something to start with, and then you go out there. You're not going to be that far off, you know, if you based on what they telling you. Now people will lie, don't get me wrong, or whatever, or in their mind it's in better condition than what it is. But you just need a ballpark. So you got your 70%. You do the $25 or the $40 square foot. You plug it in and say, okay, we're close. So when you agree to a price over the phone, you just let them know now this is a price subject to change once we get out there or whatever. And take a look at it. You need something to make you get out there and take a look at it. 60, like that last deal we were evaluating, our ARV is 75. They want 69. You're not going to look at that. There's no reason to go look at it.
And also, just to piggyback on what Tyler's saying, eventually, if you feel uncomfortable, that you don't feel you can assess your own numbers and your contractor won't come out there all the time, what you want to do is ask them, hey, if I take thorough pictures and do a really nice video, do you think, within a day or so or whatever, that you can take a look at that and kind of let me know a ballpark number of estimate of that rehab? So, you want to build rapport. You want to find someone that you can build a partnership with, but try to make it easier for them. Send them the pictures, send them a full video, so that during their break or on their free time, they can just look at your pictures of the video and they can just send you a roundabout estimate based on the videos you send.
All right. There you have it. Dante, I see that you've added some more numbers for me. Good deal. Only thing I'm missing now is you've given me the ARV. You've given me, I thought he gave you what? He gave me everything. Okay, so
what is it?
Oh, wow.
What you said?
They're asking $375.
Okay.
ARV 492, 590.
Okay, so he said the ARV is what?
492.
590.
Yeah.
What?
492,590.
Oh wow.
492, 590.
Why not just 493?
Okay, 493.
Who made that up?
She had the nerve to read it out.
I did.
Repairs.
And 44 cents.
Right. Thank you. 20. Has a fee of 10. He wants a fee of 10.
And so
how much they want for it?
How much they want for it?
$375.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's
right there,
it.
black and blue. There you go.
That's it.
What I can't see. It's not
It's up there. You got to refresh. Well, yeah, you're at 375. You definitely need to be around that 315 mark. So you're about, I'm gonna say you need to probably be around 300 or whatever, 15. So you're quite a bit off on that.
Okay, need to get it cheap, way cheaper.
Yeah.
Cheap. Mm-hmm. All right, so last is it a deal for plug and chug, and this is from Dang Chang. Can you use this for a 40-unit apartment?
What?
The deal you like?
No, not even close.
Okay, I was just because he has. Well, I'm gonna read it anyways. He has 40 units that he's trying to get rid of.
Yeah, we can probably.
Oh,
if he has enough information.
Okay, the ARV is 1.5 mil.
Where you come up with that from? It ain't like a house.
Currently appraised at 1.3.
No, we can't go by that.
Estimated repair 180,000.
Okay, we can use that number.
Purchase price 880.
What's the income? Is it vacant or?
I guess the
purchase price 800.
Yeah, it said purchase price 800. It's appraised for 880,000.
Thank you.
And what did it appraise for?
1.3.
Is it vacant? How many are rented? What are the gross rents? What are the expenses?
Right. Current income of 10 to 13,000
a month.
A month.
10 to 13,000. You got to be like, we're gonna get
some units are more than the other, and they vacant. If they was filled, it would be 13.
No, that
what's the occupancy?
Okay,
Yeah, we got to go by what it's doing, not what it can
He
do.
said monthly, so it's
So
not
What is
fully
it? What is the occupancy? How many units out of the 40?
Yeah, out of the 20, out of the 40, how many are rented?
out of the 40, how many are rented? It's a broker's elevator. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Oh.
He said a broker's elevator. I don't know what that means. Is that what he meant?
That's what
Does he
he
mean
wrote.
evaluation?
Oh, a
Broker's
broker's
evaluation.
evaluation for that number. Yes.
Oh.
Oh, but we still got to know how many are rented, right? Is there any deferred maintenance?
Right.
Age of the roof, how are they heated and cooled?
Oh,
You
the
know what?
repairs from a broken elevator.
Oh, okay.
It's
And
25 to 30 units.
what are the gross expenses?
You know what?
This is a lot of information. You just can't, what I'm saying?
Yeah, you cannot evaluate it like you do a single family home.
They can't even, they're not even close.
Yeah. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah.
You want to break those units down. You want to turn it to cap rate. You want to break it down per unit.
Yeah.
It's a lot more
Or
evaluation.
are they already being rented at the market rate, or they're under the market rate? All of that factors in. That's a lot of units too. So 40 is a decent size number of units. So you really have to get into that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
800,000 sounds like a deal, because that's only what, 20,000 a unit?
800,000. Yeah. Yeah. That actually is a good deal. Where is it? Where is it located?
Where were they located?
And what's the occupancy? How many, is it 100%? How many units occupied?
25 to 30.
25 out of 40?
He said 25 to 30. He's too vague on his stuff.
I mean, what is going on? Have you walked the property?
Yeah, but man, you got to just
Did
get
you just
all
give
the
me your
information.
email?
Yeah, you can go back and watch this. We're about an hour in, so you can go back and watch this. And you can collect all of that information. You can reach out to me or Nick or whatever.
And are you trying to purchase or wholesale this?
Yeah, you're trying to purchase or wholesale. Yeah.
See, y'all get me fussed.
And where is it located? This is a good deal. I mean, in the right area.
See,
I
am learning the power of saying I don't know. I don't know, Rennie.
I don't have a problem. When you said broker elevator, that's why I said I didn't know what that was, but you were saying broken elevator.
And it's in Detroit.
Oh, it's
in Detroit? Yeah. And you said it only need 163,000 worth of repairs to completely renovate the whole thing?
Yeah, 180.
Which is about $5,500 a property. So that puts you at about 25,000 a home. That ain't bad. That's actually really good.
It might be something.
Oh yeah,
it might be something.
Like I say, just
Shaq in Detroit, dang, give a Shaq.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm lost. Okay, what else? Okay. Oh, if someone has an investor who wants 80 cents per dollar of the ARV, what percent would I use for the seller in Dallas? Would it be the ARV times 0.80 or a different number? That seems about right.
He said the seller wants 80 cents on the dollar?
The investor.
Well, I'm that's fine. That's one investor.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to just go by what he said. I'm still going to probably use 70 just in case. Just because they say they want it don't always mean they want it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, 80% is actually less than 70% on the dollar. So,
yeah.
Wait, that sounds like a buy and hold.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's great. It makes it easier.
That makes
for
it
you to
easier.
find them. Yeah.
You got another 10% that you can add to your assignment fee or your wholesale fee. Because the formula that we do is 70% on the dollar. He's looking for 80% on the dollar.
Yeah.
That sounds like a buy and hold investor too.
Okay. I did call your name, Shaq. Dang had a property 40 units in Detroit, and I was like, you in Detroit, so maybe y'all can hook up and chase the bag or something like that.
That's what Krista had too, right?
Yeah, no, Crystal. Yes, Crystal. No, yes. I don't know what Crystal is. I forgot. Anyway, he said the earnest money deposit on that is $10,000. So I guess, listen, y'all are saying that you cannot treat this 40-unit property like you would a single family residential, because it's a multifamily. But what if the owner, the seller, is treating it like a wholesale deal? They shouldn't be, but what if they are? So then what do you do?
What do you mean the seller is treating it that way?
I mean, if they say, hey, I just want this amount for all these units. They don't care about you trying to figure out unit for unit and all of that.
Well, you'll have that. That doesn't matter. You still got to evaluate it.
Right. Because even at $800,000, if it's really $15,000, I'm not even giving him the $20,000 a unit. So he could be just throwing a number out there. So you still want to do your evaluation to determine if his number is accurate. Because it could be worth less than $20,000 a unit. I mean, Detroit, they giving away units out there in Detroit.
That's what I was about to say.
Taco Stack says your shirt is legit.
Adria did it. Hey, she worked her magic again. You know what I'm saying? So
thank you, Taco Stacks. Renikia, what's your experience with memorandums of contracts filed with the county with the seller that is refusing to close escrow? So first of all, you're going to have to educate everyone what the memorandum of contract is, and then what's your experience on one? And don't tell me Google is my friend.
No, I'm just gonna put it up just anyway, just out of just curiosity. She's gonna gladly explain it to this individual.
Okay.
So and I would love to see the true definition, but I'm gonna paraphrase it. Is really the memo saying that you have a contract on this property and you're able to file that to the counties, and it goes to the property records. So when they look to sell the property, it ties up the property because it shows that a contract is on the property with another buyer. So it ties up the property.
Hey, your wishes. It says a memorandum of contract, also known as a memorandum of understanding, MOU, is a form preceding a contract of sale in which two parties agree upon the same objective, the sale or purchase of a property. And it's basically saying they've agreed to sell and you're just going to record it. You want it to be public record if you want to put in an extra layer to prevent the seller from selling it. Most title companies are not just going to ignore that because they don't want to provide title insurance and the seller's done something that they shouldn't have done by trying to sell it to someone else. So I've only done it once, and that was a waste of money and time going down to the courthouse. The lady still did what she was supposed to do. I'm not even sure where my mind was at on that. I've probably seen it somewhere. So, I need to go do that. I don't know, but I've only done it once. I've never had anyone knowingly to go behind my back and steal a deal from me. You know what I'm saying? Now, I've had contracts to run out. It ain't my deal no more. You know what I'm saying? And somebody else bought it. That's kill to be killed. So, and I've people contract and run out, and I've done the deal on them. It just works that way, or whatever. Matter of fact, the seller called me on Tuesday. Monday, I did a IG live on it when we were going over there to look at the house, and she had it under contract, and they pulled that closed that morning, and the cash buyer pulled out on her. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And I had already talked to her. I had made my offer a couple months before, and but she still, I went out there and offered lower than what I was going to offer before, or whatever. So I guess she's found somebody else. I don't know. I went out there with a funky attitude, not showing a funky attitude, but I was like, hey, you didn't call me back. You know what I'm saying? You should have let me did it in the first place.
Right.
Oh, wow.
No.
Okay.
So she still didn't sell it to you, though.
Nah, I said she was going out of town today. She would have let me know by today if she wanted to do it with me. So she get jammed up again. Down even more.
Oh, you're closing when you can walk up to the property and
nice,
You
nice,
put a little
nice
chip
house.
on your
Nice
shoulder.
deal.
You know
Yeah.
you're a closer when you can walk up like
Yeah, she didn't call me back.
Cut throat. We have a user on YouTube. I love it. They put in the parentheses, don't bother to pronounce it. I ain't. But you know, there's no question. I can't pronounce it. Do you ever go check at a home that you wholesale to see how much the buyer actually sold it for, just to prove that you're right? You didn't even gotta leave your house to do that if you had DillyRated.com.
No, I do it all the time. I look up and see, you know what I'm saying? I'll see what they got down with or whatever, you know. But you don't know what they spend in repairs. See, that's the thing. You don't know what their true margin is on it, whatever. So
I saw
It's
a
all
house the other day.
perfect.
So explain this. Saw using Dilly saw a house where the comps were like 143. I can tell by looking at it that maybe the owner acquired it for 65, possibly, but it's on the market for 180. How does that even get justified when there's no comps that say this house is 180?
Oh, you can't find any comps on it?
The highest comps, there 5 of them are 143, and we're talking 0.2, 0.1.
It's probably based on square footage. It's probably
all the same square footage, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, off maybe by 50 square feet.
Okay, yeah, that ain't enough. Hey, the dude that since we're talking about it, he told me what he sold it for. He does such a good renovation on his properties. He gets above what the market is in a lot of cases.
Well, that's what
like 25, 30 grand more than any comp shows, and ain't no square footage difference or whatever.
This is the one that I actually.
He said they bring money to the table for the difference. You know, but he said a lot of times they just go ahead, it appraises
for
it.
The type of rehab work, like you say, the renovation. I mean, instead of having, you may have, granite countertops instead of, laminate or something of that nature. So it could depend on the type of material that he put into the home.
Now, don't ever think that the agents don't convince themselves to overprice houses.
Well,
exactly. And it could be just overpriced.
There's 5 houses. It's all sold within the last 6 months for 140. You tell the person
I didn't got that before to go from asking a retail price to a wholesale price because the agent said, this price what we're gonna list it for, and after 6 months or nothing, they come,
Well, the renovation
come on Uncle Charlie's way.
They had foundation problems. 35.
Oh wow!
Right.
So they trying to get they trying to get their money back.
Right. Wow. And at the end of the day,
foundation work still got to be done. They asking 180. Come on.
Oh
man.
wow! Oh wow!
No.
At the end of the day, you can put on the market. You can market your property for whatever you want to market your property for. That's why I call market value, because the market is going to eventually determine what the value of that property, because no one is going to purchase it at the higher number. So they're going to eventually determine that it's really worth a lot more than you're asking. So, and also, if that end buyer is getting a loan on it, he's not going to be able to sell it without that end buyer bringing additional money to the table, because no lender is going to lend more than what the property is appraised for.
All right. Oh, let's see. Who's in Tuscaloosa? Who's that? Stack QQ. Okay. Hey, T-Town. Once your contract expires, though, they can sell to someone else. That's right. What system do you use to organize leads, or what's CRM? I think people want to know how to organize, but I think that's just whatever's.
There's so many of them out there. I looked and I was going to do one here. I'm still making a decision. It's really expensive though, but it look like it'll fit what I need to do. I don't really use anything. I'm still Excel spreadsheet or whatever. So, in a what you call this, a dry eraser board up here. Cute. You know what I'm saying? So, so hey. But it's tons of them out there, so.
I mean, be honest with you, a sales spreadsheet works. You know, if
Yeah.
it works, I mean, it really works. So don't be afraid to use a sales spreadsheet. For a long time, I used a sales spreadsheet. Now I use a company called MailChimp and Constant Contact. And there's a nice one that was very, very popular. I don't see a lot of people using it anymore, called Podio. It was very, very popular at one time.
Podio is too complicated. Maybe
it's very complicated. It is kind of complicated.
Yeah, it's too complicated for me, and I know I'm a little bit above average as tech as most folks. Or whatever.
It is extra.
I just didn't get it. Then when I saw that, I'm not gonna put it out there because if I saw you, I'll put it out there. But it's so expensive, it don't matter. I think it's I don't even remember what the name of it is. I just know it's really expensive, like a $1,000, $1,000 what they call it, setup fee, and then it's like $200 a month.
No.
Wow. A sales spreadsheet works.
What is it?
I'm saying it's impressive. I don't know if it's that impressive.
I don't think it's that impressive.
You know
There's so much stuff out there already.
But it's good with follow-up. It does a lot of things, like it'll send out like emails, letters, ringless voicemails. If you set all those parameters, to try to keep following up with people or whatever. And I'm telling you, it's good.
I would say.
You know what I'm saying? I probably would have did it, but it was a little bit even more complicated than I think the way he was explaining it to me, he didn't simplify it enough to sell me on it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And I probably would have went ahead and did it or whatever. Cause organization is a weak point of mine or whatever, holding me back actually. So, but anyway, so I can't answer the question, darling, because I really don't use anything.
Ty, my mic.
And I want to add to that, regardless, you kind of need a lead generation system. So regardless you use Excel or whatever, use something, because my motto will be, and one of my mentors always tell me years ago, the money's in the follow-up. So sometimes someone calls your phone or calls your sign, and you may not have anything to sell them right then and there, or they may not have anything to sell to you right then and there. But 6 months later, you remember that buyer who was looking for that 4-sided brick home, and you talked to them 6 months ago. And if you don't have this spreadsheet or have your leads in this spreadsheet, you wouldn't know who that buyer was, what their phone number was, what their email was. So just know the money is in the follow-up. So definitely, if it's just an Excel sheet, use something.
All right, speaking of follow-up, speaking of Excel spreadsheets, get out your pen and paper. I was supposed to have a screen grab of this for you guys. I did not. I will do it tonight and send it to Ty because I can do just as good of a thumbnail as he can. Aren't they looking good, guys? Look at that Ask Flip Man and all that good stuff. But Renikia, you got the list ready. You know this is your time to share.
It's it.
What's some good skip tracing services besides Deal Machine, and can I use PropStream to find buyers, sellers, and comps? So give these guys that rundown of the skip tracing list that they never write down.
Right. Okay, I can't even wait for it. Okay, so skip tracing services, which I find is very useful. Sometimes you send a postcard or a yellow letter out to them and hoping that they call you back. But skip tracing allows you to get their phone number, and you can call them directly and try to get somebody on the phone right then and there. So and they all price different. You got TLO, which is a very expensive one. A lot of bill collectors and people like that use it. Prospect Now, LexisNexis. I was actually about to just sign up with them, but they discontinued their background check services, so they don't even have that service anymore. So TLO, Prospect Now, Been Verified, and Locate Plus are a few good skip tracing services.
All right, guys, I hope you wrote it down. If you need to get in contact with Miss Renikia, her information is on the screen there. She's available across all social media networks, her first and last name, Renikia Williams. You can email her at funding@fkfinancials.com or visit fundmynextdeal.com to reach her as well. Just keep in mind, she's very busy. Allow 48 hours for her or her team to respond to you. Without that, we appreciate you joining us for this Ask Flip Man Flippinar. We'll see you next Thursday. And Ty, got anything? Nope.
Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook group also.
Be a twit and twit.
Oh, and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. Turn on the notifications by tapping the little bell.
Ding. That was the bell. All right, guys. We will see you all on the flip side. Say bye.
Bye-bye.